sign with our platinums, and then maybe another like a few weeks, maybe a couple weeks after. So we in May we'll have grand opening. But I mean, for you guys, your people, so I'm hoping the third or fourth week of April be able to sign your deals if everything goes the way we want it. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, so yeah, I'm trying to make sure everyone can come in.
Some people maybe outside. They cannot get in from the cell phone. It has to be from the computer.
Really?
I think so.
No, I think you can do it on your phone too if you want.
At least we cannot get in from the link. I tried from my phone.
I'm doing it through my phone. So.
Yeah, it should be okay.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be okay.
Cell phone as well.
Yeah, that's okay.
You're smart.
It work.
Everyone is smarter than me.
Tony, I missed your parties.
Yeah, that's right. So you know what? We missed lots of parties, right? Yeah. This is a crazy year.
Soon. So I think we'll be much better actually starting in maybe summer.
Yeah. Hopefully by September everything go back to like almost normal.
Listen, it's already normal. The real estate is more than normal anyway, right?
That's true. Yeah. Right now it's crazy.
Everything's moving. Like, did you sell anything in our Bayview at Delisle site?
Yeah, we sell a handful units because people are crying for units, right?
I know that's the problem I had with Baby at the Village, right? So we had too much interest for such a small building, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I think we sold the whole thing in like, I don't know, 2 weeks. It was pretty insane. And probably we broke all records in North Fork when it comes to this.
It's just like a branding thing. Like, do they just have Canada in the title just to like, you know?
Okay, we'll give you a few more minutes and then we can start. I can start by sharing my screen.
John?
Yes.
I think that we can start because my manager, Sammy, he is on the screen now. He actually going to use the YouTube broadcasting function to let our agent, whoever is not accessible, then they will use that channel to watch.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So because, okay, so just let me, just give me 1 sec. Yeah, that's exactly why I want to wait, because there's still people joining and I have to admit to myself. So that's why because as soon as I start, I can't go back.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll just give it maybe a couple more minutes.
Sure, no problem. Yeah.
Okay, Tony, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
No problem.
let's just start.
Yeah.
It's, okay. Good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. It's exciting to share with you the exclusive details about One Delisle, the most exclusive project of Midtown, if not all city, going forward. My name is Sean Zahidi, the VP of Rad Marketing. We're lucky to be managing the sales and marketing for this iconic landmark going forward. And yeah, let's get it going. I'm going to talk about the market, Canadian economy post-COVID, what we should expect, and the whole vision behind this project and Young and St. Clair by Slade Management, and of course, some details about this project. Okay, so let's talk about what's happening in the Canadian economy. Obviously, we've had lots of ups and downs during COVID, but the best thing could ever happen to Canadians was being able to save a lot of money. You're not going out, you're not traveling, you're not driving, not spending money on gas. So basically what happened was the best thing could ever happen to Canadians, they spend, basically they ended up saving a lot of money. So as a matter of fact, by the end of 2020, Canadians were sitting basically well over $200 billion in cash. And we believe that's going to be rolled back to the economy as soon as we pass this stage and phase. And hopefully it's already started. You can feel in the market, in all different aspects of the market, whether you're dealing with resale, downtown, 905 area. And believe me, this is going to get even harder going forward. Due to all the stuff that I mentioned, the widespread of vaccines come in hopefully by summer. If you look at the Canadian Real Estate Association, they announced their latest projection for well over 700,000 transactions to basically exchange hands in 2021, which is way up from 2020's total number of transactions at around 551,000. That basically tells you why we're in the market that you all can feel, whether you're dealing with resale or pre-construction. And we believe this trend is going to continue throughout the entire year in 2021 and going into 2022. Obviously, we're sitting on record low interest rates. If you look at overnight rate by Bank of Canada. We don't see any change going forward for at least another year or two. I think that's going to be a big help to boost our economy, let alone real estate. My slides would have been complete if we didn't talk about immigration and what's happening to Toronto's market. As a matter of fact, we've done some research and we found out, according to Global Cities Outlook, we're number 2 on the ranking, and we're on really a lot of eyes on this city. So we're in the global map, and that's exactly if you look at the government's policy and the federal level. So they announced that they're going to welcome well over 1.2 million people by the end of 2023. So our research shows that in 2019, right before COVID, out of everyone basically moved to Canada, close to around 38-39% of those people basically settled in Greater Toronto area and Hamilton Horseshoe area as well. So if you think the market is hot, just think again, because with opening borders and those people coming to the city, this is just the beginning when it comes to price appreciation and growth. One of the biggest actually driving factors when it comes to the economy, hopefully going back and coming out of COVID, it's our tech boom happening in the city. If you look at, we've looked at some stats actually. The cost actually to set up shop for these giant techs, we're talking Google, Amazon, or any of these companies, it's almost like third, if not less than third of what they can do in San Francisco, Washington, and Seattle. That's why you see the number of actually jobs emerging in city. So we basically, as a matter of fact, for the past 8 years, we doubled number of jobs created in tech, and to well over 228,000 jobs. We believe this trend is going to continue to be the case, going also all the way to summer, if not summer 2021, if not 2022. I know most of you already seen this. We already hit record high when it comes to average GTA homes. We hit well over 1 million with 52% year-over-year transactions as of last year, with the overall increase in value of close to 15% in all types of real estate assets. One of the biggest concerns over the probably like maybe early stage of COVID, I would say maybe spring all the way till summer of 2020, was that everyone's going to pack from the city. The city's dead. The condo market is dead, and that's it. But we believed before, and we believed today as well, that's not the case. As a matter of fact, for those tracking the numbers in the condos, especially city, so you notice like there was a big actually hike happen as of December of last year. Like for the past 4 months, we've seen tremendous amount of activities when it comes to condos. And that basically, the stats that we have shows that all. So 64.3% up year over year since last year basically tells you that speaks volume. So the condo market is back. It's going to be back with widening gap between other types of housings options. I'm talking detached, semi-detached, townhomes, and condo is still basically deemed to be very affordable option. When you're dealing with investors, when you're dealing with, even for yourself, I mean, it's great to know what the trends are. Working with great actually platforms like Urbanation, Altus Group, ULI, we have access to a lot of high level information and see what's happening in the next years in the market. I would say maybe next 5 to 10 years. One of the biggest trends that we noticed, partly actually is due to downsizing, basically a lot of downsizing cases from baby boomers. But right after COVID and during COVID, people basically developed some desire for larger space. They had to stay home, and spend a lot of time at home and not going to the office. And they realized we need more space. Not everyone can afford housing. and all types of like different types of options like housing when it comes to detached and other like townhomes. And that's why so developers started responding by bringing more spacious condominiums. So going forward, you'll see a lot of condos with basically larger key plates when it comes to total square footage. And so a lot of developers, especially on the higher end, is going to stay away from building cookie cutter type of units around 400, 500 square feet. So you'll see a lot of more spacious actually units coming to the market. We've seen tremendous amount of actually interest coming to luxury end of the business, whether you're in the city, 905 area. We briefly talked about our previous launch that we had, Baby at the Village in North York. We've had tremendous amount of activities and interest came to that project. As a matter of fact, we had so much interest for 2 and 3 bedrooms. And in some cases, we had to combine to be able to serve our clients. Huge demand coming back to Midtown area, especially Yonge and St. Clair. That's why developers started noticing there's a big gap in terms of what happened in Yonge and Eglinton and Yonge and Bloor. It seems like Yonge and St. Clair has been kind of like being left out. And that's why developers started noticing. You'll see a lot of probably 3 or 4 major developers moving this area forward with their new projects. Another great trend to point out, you'll see a lot of smart home systems built into your basically buildings, especially on the higher end. You can simply use everything that you need in your unit, whether accessing your utility bills to lower your temperatures, accessing your your unit without a key, face recognition, being able to have your guests without having a fob or buzzing. So these are new things coming to the buildings. And of course, we believe dramatic rise in the price of low-rise homes is pushing buyers back to high-rise sector and condominiums. So I'm going to tease you with some rendering images of the building. You've probably seen this one. This is the entrance to the lobby of the building. But I'm also going to share with you some renderings that have never been shared until today. So just stay tuned. Let's see what's happening in the neighborhood. So this site's located right in Yonge and St. Clair Deer Park area. For those of you familiar with Midtown, you know this is surrounded by multi-million-dollar actually pockets and elite neighborhoods. So we're talking Rosedale, Forest Hill, Moore Park. These are all basically walking distance to this site. And for those of you who follow the pricing and the housing and Laura's end of this area, so you know like the entry level for these areas is more or less around $4 million. So if you're lucky, you get something like a fixer upper around $4 million. If you're really looking for something like nice, you have to go well over 5.5 and more in this area. In some cases, I was looking at the market, there's some houses trading well over $10 million in this area. Yet there's a big lack of supply when it comes to condominiums. A lot of people want to be in this area, but they don't have the big budget. They can't break the banks just buy houses in this area. And up until One Delisle, there hasn't been that much condominium, especially in the high-rise end of the business. So we think that this is going to be the solution for that. So if you look at Midtown and the way it's basically located, I'm talking Yonge and St. Clair, Yonge and Bloor area. So you're literally like walking distance to a lot of amazing trails and parks, like Balfour Park and trails. And as much as you're living in the city and you're right on the subway line, you're like literally on the Yonge Street subway line, but yet you can just walk a few minutes and you're in a completely different world of ravine. So this is really rare offering, and it doesn't really, you can't get that not everywhere in the city. Of course, to be able to serve and be able to keep up with the demographic living in this area, the very elite people, living in this area, these areas, and you'll see the level of retails, boutiques, restaurants are pretty high. And then I'm going to show you later in this presentation with Slate's vision, they're going to welcome a lot of high-end retailers into this area and a lot of basically restaurants as well. And soon you're going to see the same trends basically happening here. This exactly happened like 10 years ago in Yorkville area. In terms of like what's around this site, so like I said, you're literally on the subway in less than like 40 seconds. into subway station, the Yonge and St. Clair, across from the site. Some of the best schools in the city, if not Canada, happen to be around this area. We're talking like UCC, Upper Canada College, the Bishop Strachan School, the York School Junior. So they all happen to be in like literally in walking distance to from this site. For those people who really care about people and their kids' education, and they want to be able to be in the like a postal code to send their kids to these schools, and they yet don't have the big budget of buying like a house. So this would be the great solution for them as well. When it comes to the transit, this is perhaps the mecca of the city. If you look at it, we ride on subway line in Yonge and St. Clair. You have designated line when it comes to streetcar in St. Clair. Your 3 stations, just only 3 stations to future Eglinton LRT. To the south, 3 stations to Yonge and Bloor and Yorkville area. If you are to go to U of T, we're only 6 stops from Yonge and St. Clair. And of course, same thing with Ryerson, a few more steps and actually stops and you're in Ryerson. For those working in financial district, only very few stops and that's it. You're in a completely different world of financial district. I just want to again point out how green it is around this site and this area. So mostly basically pockets in the city, Rosedale, Forest Hill, like Moore Park, happen to be around this area. And I'll tell you why. One of the big reasons is that you're surrounded by a lot of ravines. As you can see, all these like dark beige areas in the map. So this happened to be all the greeneries around this site. And that's why it's a huge difference when you're talking like living in Yonge and Eglinton and maybe Yonge and Bloor versus going actually further up into Rosedale area, Moore Park area. And that's exactly what this site's offering. It's really crucial to understand the demographic living in this area. So according to Statistics Canada, the average household income for Toronto, it's around $65,000 to $67,000. So I know seems very low, but that's the stats that we have from Statistics Canada, $65,000, $67,000. And you can see right here, the average income for a household here in this area, it's almost 3 times more, well over 200,000. But yet, if you look at basically population living here, it's not much because of basically, if you look at the way this area basically is designed and the city planning around this site, it's mostly low rise. There's not much density around it, and all the condos came to market for the past 10, 20 years, mostly happen to be like mid-rise buildings. There has never been anything like this, like tall in terms of density around Yonge and St. Clair. Perhaps will never be. And that's why we believe that's going to bring some turnover to the economy of the area. A lot of high-end retail is going to come. We already have in discussion, and I know from Slate that a lot of global renowned retail is going to come to the area. And that's exactly why we think this is going to be going through a completely different phase of revitalization when it comes to Yonge and St. Clair. Another big thing to understand when it comes to this area, if you look at the average price for houses, we're talking like close to $4 million. And believe me, this is just entry level. And the very fascinating, basically, thing about this is that we had this presentation sometimes in November of last year for some other basically investors behind this project. And basically, from summer of 2020, actually June 2020 to be exact, the average price for the area went up by 26%. This is really insanity because if you look at these homes are not so cheap, right? I mean, this is not a $800 to $900 million homes. We're talking like close to $4 million homes. And the average yet happened to go up by 26% for houses. There's only, it's this widening gap between condos in the area and the houses. It's going to definitely put a lot of pressure, upward pressure on the condominiums in this area. A lot of people want to be in these pockets and they can't afford homes or houses. So the only option would be condos. So another interesting part about condos in this area. So we ran some search 3 weeks ago, early March, and we found out that an entire CO2 area on the Trap and basically Yonge and St. Clair corridor. So we only found two listings in buildings less than 10 years old. So at the same time, if you were to do the same search in Yonge and Eglinton or Yonge and Bloor, you probably would have seen like tens, if not hundreds of listings, active listings. Yet in this area, we only have two listings. Right off the bat, it tells you how much lack of inventory we deal with in this area. And that's exactly why for the past 10 years, Slade Asset Management has created a portfolio of 10 buildings, and they just keep adding to it. This is probably the first, I've never heard of this, but this is the only time I've heard one company owns all four corners of a major intersection in the city. So that's the case when it comes to Slade. So if you look at the intersection, all four corners happen to be owned by Slade, plus 6 more buildings, and they just keep adding to it. They're going to revitalize the whole area going forward. And I'm telling you, there are going to be lots of high-end retailers, office people, actually, companies coming to their these offices. And also some of these buildings will be converted to condominiums or mixed-use condominiums going forward. Going back to lack of inventory in this area, if you look at Yonge and St. Clair, we only had 4 developments in the past few years for the total of just over 400 units. Same time, Yonge and Eglinton offered 9 developments for a total of 3,500 units. And at the same time, Yonge and Bloor had 8 developments with a total of close to 4,000 units. So you can see how much of a difference we were dealing with here when it comes to supply, right? Doesn't mean that we don't have enough demand. And that's why we believe a lot of locals, a lot of actually people around this area dying to get to new products. And one Delisle is the solution here. Same thing basically applies here if you deal with rental. So we're dealing with, we had, at the time we ran this search, we only had 59 rental units in the area around Yonge and St. Clair. We had 597%, almost like 6 times more listings around Yonge and Bloor, and almost 9 times more listings, well over 800% around Yonge and Eglinton. Again, this is going to be safe haven for any landlords. You're going to have any units, here, you're not going to have any problem renting that because we don't have the same level of supply as Yonge and Bloor and Yonge and Eglinton. Speaking of the team behind this project, it's a true global partnership when it comes to One Delisle. Slade Asset Management, it's a true private equity firm behind this project and developer. So they basically have offices in Frankfurt, Germany. They have offices in London, UK, Chicago, US, Toronto. This company was founded by 2 brothers in Hamilton and years ago. And now they're a true global company. So I believe they've been involved with well over $12 billion in transactions in the past 15 years. Studio Gang is the architect and interior designer of this project. Arguably, she's #1 architect in the world, female architects in the world. And I'm going to show you some of her previous jobs she's done in different countries and different places. Of course, my company, Rad Marketing, we're handling sales and marketing for this project on behalf of Slade Management. WZMH, so it's a local architectural firm, amazing firm. They've been involved since day one on this project. And last but not least, Janet Rosenberg in the studio. She's probably one of the best landscape architects that I've ever worked with. We had a pleasure to work with her in the past in a few other projects. So she's not only designing all the landscaping around this building, she's also designing Delisle Park, which just happened to be adjacent to this property right on the west side of this site. So there will be a plan to redevelop and expand the park. Janet's also working on that with the city as well. So speaking of Genie Gang, so every year Time Magazine released their top 100 influential people in the world. And these people are people in, politicians, athletes, artists, people in finance, any industry you can think of. These are people, they think they're going to shake and move the world. And the only architects on that list was Genie Gang. It's basically that speaks volume, and I'm going to show you some of her jobs that she's done in the past. Unfortunately, I can't show you her entire portfolio. You're more than welcome to go to studiogang.com and see her other work, but I'm going to point out about like few of them. So Aqua Tower is the single largest, tallest building in the world ever designed by a female architect. This building is 82-story, and believe me, if you go to Chicago now, there's no way you're going to miss this building. That's how special and unique this building is. Another great project that she did was like 11 Hoyt, San Francisco, and Mira. These projects, if you look at it, there's nothing really conventional about these projects and designs. One thing is we had a chance to sit down with Jeannie 3 weeks ago, and she explains how she basically starts the process of designing, and it's really crucial for her to understand the type of design she does is going to blend into the whole community. And that's why every building that she designed, you think that they're special, they stand out in the whole community. And of course, we're here for One Delisle. This is the jewel of Yonge and St. Clair going forward, and there's a reason Jeannie Gang basically agreed to work on this project as her first project ever in Canada. Because if you look at topography of Yonge Street, this project actually located at the pinnacle of Yonge Street. So if you go north towards Eglinton and you go south, so you go down again and go back up. So that's why this project will probably be very visible from all four corners of the city. I'm not claiming that we are as tall as CN Tower, but I'm telling you this project is going to be visible from all four corners of the city. So let's get into some details about One Delisle. For those of you who had a chance to work with Rad and my team in the past, we've done a lot of amazing other landmarks in the city. We've been in charge of Shangri-La, St. Regis after it got renamed from Trump Tower. We did King Toronto. I myself was in charge of the United Condos 481 University. We've done at Yonge and College, the tallest residential tower ever built in Canada as of now. And so we've worked on a lot of iconic buildings. So, and if you look at, like, for example, Shangri-La, so there is a hotel portion and there's a residential portion to that building. We never had any idea whether we're going to have hotel, which we don't have here. But we want to make sure we create the same type of actually, feel into this building. So that's why we divided this building into 3 different collections. For those of you or your clients looking for great investments, they're younger professionals, maybe first-time buyers, they don't have big budget. So we create a city collection. That collection starts on the 5th floor all the way to 29th floor. And for those asking what's happening below, basically we have renowned retailers going to come and take those basically really grand high ceiling retails at the bottom of this building going forward. So basically, if you look at the unit mix in this collection, so we have lots of 1-bedroom, lots of 1+10s, and few 2-bedrooms, small 2-bedrooms. But for those local, basically downsizers, people really appreciate the space, they want spacious space, they want that wow factor. So we created a Sky Collection. The Sky Collection has 3 very distinctive features to it. Number 1, you're going to have unobstructed view on all basically 3, if not 4 corners of the entire building. So in the south, north, and west, you're going to be unobstructed anywhere, I would say, north of 25.6 in this building. And definitely 30 is going to clear everything. So that's not going to change. And I'll tell you why, because all other buildings owned by Slate, and they know the vision, and they know what's going to happen. And on 3 sides, you're going to be protected in terms of view. So another thing happens in the Sky Collections, the unit mix becomes a little bit larger. These are mostly designed for end users in the area. So we have lots of 2-bedroom and 3-bedrooms in this collection. And number 3, which is probably the most important things, the level of finishes are completely different from City Collection. I'm not saying that City Collection is not great. They're really great compared to average product that you've seen in the market, but Sky Collection is another level. Basically rivals a lot of buildings in Hong Kong, Manhattan, Singapore. It's some of the finishes I've never seen myself, being in the business for close to over a decade, done over 30 projects. Some of these features, these are the first time I've seen them. And of course, those looking for that Amazing space, something that nowhere to be found in the market. We're dealing with penthouse collections, top 3 floors, all 10-foot ceilings. And one thing I want to mention, for Sky Collection and Penthouse Collection, we'll have separate designated elevator. And which is, again, this is like hotel inspired and hasn't been done that much in the city. The building wouldn't be complete and it wouldn't be true landmark if you didn't have like state-of-the-art amenities. And that's exactly what we have here. So we have zero-edge pool. Unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to share with you the rendering. They'll be released within the next week or two. And another great feature about this building, as much as you hear the balconies are no longer needed in condominiums and high-rise building, it's completely wrong. So we have balconies and terraces in well over 80% of this building. Some have both balconies and terraces, and for those lucky enough to get terrace unit, so they'll get gas connection provided to them. So that means that they can have barbecue gas on the terrace. Of course, the wellness spa, it was a big thing for us. We know that how much people appreciate these days working home and enjoying, staying home and basically spending time in the amazing amenities of the building. So wine and cocktail lounge, fitness center, chef's kitchen and dining room. And one of the biggest trends out of COVID was that we knew how important it was for people to have designated and separate, space for working. And that's why we created co-working spaces. Another trend that we noticed about, around this area, a lot of people, young families that would love to be in this area to be able to send their kids to school, because these are probably best schools in the country, and yet they don't have the big budget to buy houses. So that's why, they're going to move to this building, they're going to use this address and be able to send their kids to the school. And for that very reason, we created Kids Room. Of course, 24/7 concierge, porte cochere. This is a feature mostly used in hotels, and it's usually developers try to stay away from it because they lose actually sellable area by doing and creating that. But we didn't want to compromise. We want to make sure that we give that a special feel to the building by having this porte cochere. Lounge area with lobby lounge and fireplace. And of course, redesigned and expanded Delisle Park designed by Janet. And as I mentioned before, we're going to have world-renowned retailer coming and taking the place at the bottom of the building. And that's exactly speaks volume when it comes to the type of building this is going to be. If you look at any hotels around the world, they're not going to have any mom and pop type of businesses at the bottom of a hotel. They'll usually have brand names, and the same thing's going to happen here as well. So we released probably maybe 3 days ago the Eucalyptus room. This is one of the very few rooms that we have as part of wellness collection in this building. It's opening to the Zen Garden, and it's you can see the level of finishes here. And again, this is just one of so many features in this building. But the next slide that I'm going to show you, it's never been shared with anyone. Probably your office is going to see it for the first time. We go way back with Tony, and we always appreciate, his business, and we try to be able to help your clients and the entire team at Home Life Landmark. This is Wine and Cocktail Lounge. Like I said, this is the very first time I'm sharing this one with any office. As you can see, all the details, the furnitures, coffee tables, chairs, the woodwork, the paneling, the glass work, everything's been basically carefully selected by Jeannie Gang and her studio. So that's why it took almost 6 years for Slade and Jeannie Gang to bring this project to the market. That's how much details goes into these type of buildings and projects. And when we say to people, these projects only come to the market every 10, 15 years, we're not joking. This project, by the time it's up, it will take probably 11 years since first day of actually planning. So the building would have been complete without a smart system. So as I said, this is a big trend you're going to see in a lot of luxury condos. You can simply use an app on your phone or your iWatch, whether you're using Android. So I'm pretty sure they're all available on all these platforms. We partner with a company called One Valley. And believe me, this service is not so cheap. It will be provided to all residents in the building, from keyless basically unit entry, lock system, the security system, face recognition. You don't need to have fob, you don't need to have key coming to this building. When you have guests coming over, they don't have to buzz come to you. You can define and basically introduce their phrase to the system. So everything from checking your basically utility bills and everything, like setting your temperature, everything can be done simply by using this app. Okay, for the very first time, I'm showing some floor plans. I'm going to show you 3 floor plans, 1+10, a 2-bedroom, and a 3-bedroom. So this is part of our city collection. Going forward, when you see C, that stands for city collection, and 1E is the model that you should be looking at. So this particular unit, it's a 1+10, and despite the fact a lot of people thought that this building is going to lose a lot of living space by having curb in the exterior of the building, but basically you can see everything is done to the balconies and terraces, and it hasn't really affected the interior space of your living space. So everything's are pretty much square, very functional, and very practical. So this is a typical balcony. So you see how deep they are. And when you see it going forward, every time you see like a basically image of a barbecue, so this is exactly what it means. You're going to get gas barbecue connection, which is really a rare offering in any tall towers that I've ever seen. Last time I've had this one in any of my projects, it was probably like a 8-story mid-rise. Usually big, like tall towers, try to stay away from them. It's a big cost to developers, but we already have it in this building. Another unique thing about this building, none of the floors are typical. We don't have stack floor plans. So every floor is very unique when it comes to different floor plans. And this basically proven to be a great thing for investors. And I'll tell you why. I happen to own like an investment condo myself years ago. And it was a stack model. For example, like it was an O2 in the building. So we had like 50 O2s in the building. And basically what happened was one of the owners ended up selling his unit very cheap. And that very same unit became the comparable for the entire building. And for 2 years, everyone in the building with that model had problem being able to surpass that number to bring it to where the real true market value should be. So in this building, you're not going to be competing with so many people having this floor plan. Each and every floor plan, we have very few of them. And for that reason, so I think you're not competing with your own building. And whether you're renting, you're flipping as an assignment, or you're holding in units and you want to sell it maybe a few years down the road, so you're not going to be competing with your own building. That's a big selling feature when it comes to, I would say, investment point of view. This is from Sky Collection. As you can see, we have herringbone pattern on the flooring, which is a really rare offering for any new condos. These days, a very expensive feature. It's all standard when it comes to Sky Collection. This particular unit, again, same thing. It has gas connection. This one has balcony and terrace. You can see 2 walk-in closets in both bedrooms and double sink vanity in your master. This is, again, everything you can think of. It's like hotel inspired. So I myself haven't seen anything like this, at least for the past couple of years. For those looking for more space, downsizing from a house, or simply don't want to live in a house and maintain low-rise house, and they want to enjoy the living the lifestyle they have. Basically, this is fantastic. This is a 3-bedroom, close to 1,700 square feet. As you can see, we don't have too much like hallways. Another big feature in this building, any of the large units. So most projects, when you look at them, they have a lot of columns in large units. We don't have that. So they all happen to be kind of like hidden in the walls, and there's no columns basically in your face. That's a big feature in this project. For the very first time, I'm showing you a sample bathroom in Sky Collection. Everything you see in this rendering, please also, if you want to take a screenshot, I'm more than happy, so you can do it. Please don't share any of this on social media yet, because this is exclusive to your office, and not every brokerages actually have seen it, and a lot of people are going to be mad if they see it. So please keep it to yourself if you want to show it to your clients, but please don't share on social media. As you can see, you have lots of stone and in some cases marble in these bathrooms. All the lights, fixtures, the mirrors, everything is standard. You have toilet, tankless toilet, very high end. And you have a glass divider, very high-end shower heads and faucets, all included in our Sky Collection. And last but not least, this is my favorite out of all. This basically tells you how different this building is for two reasons. Number one, if you look at the way the balconies and terraces designed in this building, I don't want to get into details, but this is a German concept that has been used in a lot of beaches in Germany to protect people from sun and wind. And that's very same concept has been used for the very first time in this building, meaning that's going to extend the amount of time you can spend outdoor on the balcony. Because chances are you probably heard from your clients or even yourself, you've had that issue, that the balconies happen to be so you have so much wind. It's so windy, you're going to probably have your furniture blown out of the balconies. And this basically very feature is going to protect you from too much wind and also too much sun. Another great feature that we have that is probably, I myself haven't seen it in any of the past 30 projects that I've ever worked on. This is a curtain wall window system. This is a very expensive system, usually used in contemporary homes or hotels and some very high-end commercials. Probably cost anywhere from 2 to 3 times more than conventional windows. But as you can see, the balcony and terrace becomes extension of your living space in the unit. And that's exactly why we thought it was crucial for people to have that experience. These days, the condos, sometimes are smaller. People want to be able to spend time outside, inside, and this basically new technology is going to give you that. And again, this is a very rare feature, and you don't see it. This is the first time I've seen it actually in Toronto. I've seen it in other cities, like Manhattan. I've seen it in Hong Kong, but this is the very first time I see it in Toronto. And that is done. I'm finished. If you have any questions when it comes to timeline, when we're going to launch the project, the price point, I can point out a few. Actually, maybe I can tease you with some information. We're still working on some details, but I'm going to stop sharing. And Tony, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Anyone else, you can. You're more than welcome to share your questions. Tony?
Yeah, I'm here. I think my Yang is asking you what is the lowest price from this building?
Okay, so this being a very high-end building, so basically the different collections, they have different basically PSF and dollar per foot. But if you look in ballpark, I can give you maybe just ballpark pricing, so I can't give you specifics. We're still working on. But I think lower floors, we start around $1,650, $1,700 per foot. And as you get to Sky Collection, that number becomes higher. But one of the big selling features when it comes to this building, I think, Tony, you remember that we had that probably at United, maybe a couple of years back, like 2 years ago. We know how crucial it is for developers to collect the PSF that you want. But in return, we got going to... Tony?
I'm here, yeah.
Can you mute yourself? Because I
just mute, yeah.
And basically what we did, that it was a big success, was that we extended the deposit structure in a way that it was made it really affordable for people. Keep in mind, the gap between housing market and the low rise end of the business, it's just widening in this area. And give an example, if you were to go on MLS on their CO2 Yonge St. Clair corridor, so condos around 25, 30-year-old condos in this area, they're trading anywhere from $1,200 to $1,300 per foot today. If you are to go into condos, I would say maybe less than 6, 7 years old, which they're very few, you can probably see they're selling anywhere from $1,400 to close to $1,600 per square foot today. And that's why we believe what we're asking is very reasonable, knowing that this project is going to be probably another 5 years down the road. And by giving you that special deposit structure, I think it's going to make it very affordable for a lot of your clients. And I'm not going to say that this is going to be a 10% deal, but it's almost feels like a 10% deal. And when you see it, you're going to basically realize this payment structure hasn't been in the market at least for the past 2 years. So that's why. So everything you've seen from our from last launches in the 2021, this is going to be way better because it's going to be really extended. It almost feels like a 10% deal, almost. And for that very reason, I think you're going to have lots of interest coming to you. Tony. Or anyone else, if you have any questions, let me go to the chat box. Okay, price. Okay, occupancy, as I said, we're aiming to I would say 4.5 years, but like any other building, so that could be maybe, delayed, especially because of what's happening with trades in the construction world. So I think it's safe to say maybe around 5 years, more or less. So that's why it gives your investors great time, to come up with money. Price, I know that we promoted the projects in 900s in Global Mail in the last couple of weeks. And that's exactly majority of our units. That's 1 bedrooms plus. We may or may not have very few that they're priced a little bit lower than 900, but those will be given to only top producers. We're going to reward our top producers by giving them those type of units. But for you to remember, majority of the units that we have, they'll be north of 900,000. Okay, so if you guys want to type in chat box, I can see your questions. Otherwise, maybe we just go back to Tony.
Yeah, I think that's we're good. I'm good myself. I understand all the presentation. Will you able to share the basic PDF file or presentation to us?
Sorry, say that again, Tony.
Can you share me the presentation?
Oh, this presentation. Okay, so we're probably going to have it available in the next week or two because we're updating some of the slides. We're going to probably have more renderings. So I think that's going to be even more helpful for you guys to have.
Great.
Is that good?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Tony, I'm telling you, I remember we worked on another project with very low deposit, even though it seemed very high in PSF. We had great success. We brought the project to 90% sold in a matter of 8 months. I think same thing's going to happen here. So far, based on the developers, advertising platforms that we've seen, so we have lots of interest coming, especially for larger units. It's funny. So we have more interest for 2 and 3 bedrooms in this project, and I'm pretty sure you guys can do focus on a lot of small units. We have lots of units in around, I would say 550 square feet to 600 square feet in city collection. And those are perfect for investors, knowing that they're only required to put so little as down payment. I think those would be very appealing to your investor clients.
Yeah, this is good. I think that you are referring to 481, which is a longer closing date. You see this probably is somewhere in the ballpark of 5 years closing date.
Yes,
right?
I would say. Listen, I mean, it's a very complicated building to build.
I see. Yeah,
and that's why. So it's. I would say maybe 5, maybe it could be more, but I would say ballpark more or less can be around 5 years. But keep in mind, by the time this one is up, I did some basically. I'm just playing my financial background card here, but basically what I did was I did I picked one of our typical units in City Collection, which is a 1+10. It's around 560, 70 square feet, right? So if you are, with my deposit that I'm going to bring to the market, if you are to buy a 1+10 in City Collection, and with the deposit that we have, and the type of investment you do over the and the payments you have over the course of the next 3 or 4 years, you're basically walking away with close to north of 280% increase in value in your units. And the way I came up with that value, basically I counted 4% price appreciation year over year. And we all know that 4% is a very conservative number. No one has crystal ball, but I'm telling you what's happening in the low rise in the business in Yonge and St. Clair. It's dramatically going up, 26, 20%, 15%. I'm not even banking on those numbers. I'm talking like 4% only. And if you were to buy 1+10 with only 4% increase year over year, we're talking around 280% increase by the time this building's up. That basically represents almost 45 to 50% basically growth in your based on your deposit year over year. That's a great return you can have. And I myself, I buy units in every project that I work on, and both me and Riz, the president of the market, we all take units in this project. And I'm putting my money where my mouth is. This is great projects, and same thing I did with my other project. And I believe this is going to be just the beginning for Yonge and St. Clair. And if you think this is expensive, give it some time. I did a seminar in 2017, and I predicted the price for the city average becomes around $1,400-1,500 a foot. And at the time, people thought this is crazy. And that's exactly where we're sitting today. And I think in the next 5 years, we're going to see even higher prices, especially from Midtown area.
Yeah, 5 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay, Tony. So if there's no more question, so we just wrap it up, and we'll just if you guys need anything. So Tony, you have access to the portal. We just released our video. We have a series of videos coming, basically explaining about this project. You're more than welcome to share it on social media, and you can post the video on IGTV if you want. Make sure that you tag Rad Marketing and myself and my team, so we're going to repost your basically post and your stories. So hopefully you get some exposure out of it too.
For sure. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you. Thank you.
All the best.
Take care.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.